1.3 million Americans have died in uniform defending this nation. On this Memorial Day, 2025, be a part of the energy of gratitude that you get to be here and you get to be a part of this story. Look to your strengths and look to the things you can agree with and step forward to continue making all of this a continuation of freedom and a continuation of the opportunities that you see potential for. Hey everybody, Jeff here. Before we get started, if you're getting value from the podcast, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening on podcast apps, don't forget to rate and review. Your support really helps the show reach more people, and for that, I am truly grateful. Now let's dive in. Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes. All right, hello and welcome to The Point. It is fantastic to be here. It is a blessing that we get to have these conversations. It's a blessing that you get to be here because you're considering what's great about you and how to move forward best for you, your family, your loved ones, and how to move into your greatness and what is actually designed for you in this universe. Today, it's a great consideration if you're here in the U.S. because it is Memorial Day weekend. And it's a personal thing to consider what this means for you. For every American, there have clearly been sacrifices made by people, and I'm going to share some of those facts. I did some homework, and I started looking at what that really looks like. I was looking at different wars, and I'm going to tell you, as I did that, I was caught off guard by some of the results that I just wasn't quite aware of. You may be as well, so I'm going to share those ideas, but what you are going to get to consider today is, number one, Memorial Day is about the most intense level of gratitude you could have, express, feel, or be. There is some confusion in the world today. There's some confusion in our country around what this means. And there's no shame, no embarrassment. We have problems that we can be proud to have. There's problems that we can be accepting to have. And that's one of the number one ways we talk about that you get to consider moving forward is by looking in the mirror and starting with facts so that from those facts you can make decisions to be in the place that you're meant to be for all of your greatness. And how is that meant to affect the world around you? Today, as we talk about Memorial Days and as you consider that, I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I spent 3 years in the Marine Corps. I have the billet status with the Veterans Administration as a wartime veteran. I did not see any viable action, so to speak, in war, which I am extremely grateful for. For many years, I was uncomfortable receiving thanks from people. Well, here's the thing. Memorial Day is not about thanking veterans. That's what Veterans Day is for. However, that doesn't mean not to thank a veteran on Veterans Day, because if that is your way of expressing gratitude, veterans can stand together. Those of us that are still walking this earth can stand together as part of the group. I can stand, and I do stand anytime that I am thanked, even on Veterans Day, for being a veteran, in honor of being part of the whole. And I can be the channel that you or anyone else chooses to find your way of giving thanks for something, and I can pass it through to all those that have gone before and all of those that aren't here and all of the families that have sacrificed their loved ones in the pursuit of the America that you want to have and that we all want to have. Now, there is something that stood out to me that was incredibly interesting, maybe disturbing at the same time. You may join me, but in that thought, but I'm looking at the notes over here, and some of this I used AI for, and some of this I was looking myself. I was looking through some books about my uncles who I've never met, who died just after the Korean War, who I was always told died in the Korean War. But he actually died in training exercises. He was a pilot doing exercises south of Florida, landing on ships meant for aircraft. And there was an accident, and that forever changed my family. Not really my family, although it's my family, but more my dad's family. My dad's immediate momentary lifespan was changed because they were so upset that his brother was lost. My father was the second born, and my father could never measure up. Now, another note to that is that my father had something wrong with him, that they thought it was rheumatic fever, and he was never able to join the armed forces. And he was, up until his last day, was not very happy about that. He always wished he could have been a better service. And because of that, he did serve many people in the community and got involved in organizations that were preparing people for military service, military academies, and other things. He spent his life doing his best to be of service to this country in any way he could, out of a guilt and a responsibility. Now, his best friend, he lost in Vietnam. His best friend growing up, every time he went to a Vietnam memorial, that is who he would look up and that is who he would honor. His name was Ronald Hines, Ronnie Hines, from Amarillo, Texas. The point is, there is a gratitude to be had, not just for the individuals that were lost, but also for the people that loved them the most, and that those families were affected and the people that were affected by these losses. Now, here's something that is really interesting, and I'm just going to, since the founding of the United States, more than 1.3 million American service members have died in service to their country. That's across wars, conflicts, and military operations. From the Revolutionary War to Afghanistan, their sacrifices absolutely shaped this country and our entire story. Now, that's not just our national story or our international story, but also the story, your story of the people you've known, or your relationship to that entire experience and thought. Everyone, what's the number one thing that makes you the most unique about you? Is your perspective and your approach. Now, whether your approach is that you joined the military or could join the military or couldn't join the military, or you didn't join the military, or you found other ways to be of service or not, your perception and your approach, if you're an American, is, well, in general, for everyone in the world, your perception and your approach is what makes you absolutely incredibly unique. Everything else about us, we can find similarities in our perspective and approach, but it's really important. That's where you find your natural way of moving forward towards things that you want, things you can impact, things you can improve, things, what is it that's been put in your heart? So those that loved our military service members paid a dear price as well. And I think Memorial Day, in my opinion, also gives thanks to them. So we're absolutely honoring and memorializing on Memorial Day those that died in service for our country, so that your dream could be met, so that you could be listening to this podcast, considering what's next best for you to do. So you could be considering your greatness, so that you could have the freedom to consider that and to really stand in choice. It adds a complexity to the idea of being at choice and why you might want to consider staying at choice and sticking with facts and making decisions to be your best version of yourself, because there's a whole lot that's gone into it. 1.3 million. So another really interesting thing about that to consider today is that the Civil War was the deadliest. Civil War, we lost somewhere between 650, 750,000 people. So it was the most deadly war that we've had since the Revolutionary, since this country was founded. The second most was World War II. And since then, we've had less over time. The amount of deaths and times have changed. Advancements have been made. And that's another great topic of conversation. But what's the point? The point today is about Memorial Day and considering the gratitude to be here in the U.S., participating in your American dream, whether that's participating in surviving so that you can make something of it, or if you're thriving and making something of it. A great deal of effort, a great deal of lives went into making sure that this could be what it is. When this country started, it was so that people with Christian beliefs could have freedom of expression. And it was opened to be complete freedom of expression. One of the main influences that came to this was this idea that we could have choice and freedom. If you're worried about what you believe and wanting to believe what you believe, that's one of the consequences of the Declaration of Independence, is that right to believe what you want to believe and to be treated equal. And we've taken being treated equal to a new level. So if you just look at statistics, this is not meant to jump into differences, and it's not meant to jump into the problems. This is meant to jump into the sacrifice, the gratitude for the sacrifice, many sacrifices, the gratitude for the sacrifices that are not yours. And maybe even if they are yours, the gratitude for those sacrifices that allow us to be here, that bring a positive memory to those who fought and those who served and didn't make it home. To any of you fellow veterans out there, if you're thanked on Memorial Day, please stand strong with the full breadth of your entire being, including your shadow, and you stand strong in that and say thank you and feel the energy flow through you to all of those who really deserve the thanks. That's part of your job as a veteran, is to stand in that space, to be of service and allow somebody that's in this country to express their gratitude. Now, if you feel it upon yourself to educate others, that's what's in your heart. This is not meant to quell that or stop that. This is just meant to bring peace to the idea that we are part of who stands to allow people to give thanks. So make it an honor. I'd also encourage you, any of you, regardless of being a veteran, to somehow find your way of paying homage to the fact that you get to be here in this realm. Now, gratitude beats darkness any day of the week. Gratitude is the enemy of darkness. The way to turn around anything and make it positive is to sit in the absolutely unlimited expression, feeling, and experience of gratitude. In that gratitude, we can heal all of the differences. We can heal just about anything and face anything that's dark and evil. And gratitude will always prevail. So this idea that the Civil War was the most deadly is a little compelling and a hell of a good reason to come together in our communities and begin looking at the similarities of those that are around you. Find a common ground and look for that. Find a way to be in community with others from that stance of common ground, from the stance of what is working, and focus on expanding what is working over fixing what's broken. If it's true that what you focus on is what grows, then if you focus on what's working, that will grow. On the other side, if you focus on what's broken, that will grow as well. This is the idea of strengths in general as a theory and as an idea and as a concept that turns us upside down from our critical thinking, which really isn't as necessary anymore in the realm of keeping us alive from predators that was back in the caveman days, right? As we have, and then when you look at having more and more people alive today than ever were since the 50s, we've completely changed the idea of who lives and who dies. Just from the age of birth to 5, we've lowered the infant mortality rate so that so many more people are making it into their teens, 20s, and beyond that weren't making it before, right? So that means that it's not any longer true that the survival of the fittest, that entire energy of the survival of the fittest. Think about that for a second on Memorial Day, where the strong win in these defenses and these forces, and we are in a strong position. And we can argue if it's strengthening or weakening or anything else, but I'm saying focus on those strengths. And those strengths are coming in many different forms. All of these, even our defenses and even the things that we're doing in the realm of having defenses, are more mental than physical. Many things are changing to the standpoint and the positioning that it's not just about the biggest, strongest individual, country, or group wins. So on Memorial Day, be grateful that you get to be here. Remember those that you don't even know. Remember the 1.3 million. That's a whole nother thought I have, is that the Clifton Strengths, the science that Gallup has on that says that you're 1 in 1.3 million, 1.33 million is the chance that you'll have the same top 5 strength themes in the same order as another individual. You're more unique than 1 in a million. Also, 1.3 million Americans have died in uniform defending this nation, defending our freedom, our protection. That's our debt. Our debt is eternal. Our debt is eternal. So on this Memorial Day, 2025, be a part of the energy of gratitude that you get to be here and you get to be a part of this story. Look to your strengths and look to the things you can agree with and step forward to continue making all of this a continuation of freedom and a continuation of the opportunities that you see potential for. And make it about what is strong and bettering what is working well. Maybe some of the things that are broken are meant to just go away. Maybe some of the things that are broken are meant to fade, and what's keeping them alive is the focus on them. It's time to stop fixing what's broken and focus on what is strong and wonderful and amazing and beautiful about you and everything around you. You will naturally, based on how you're made and how you're wired, you'll not allow, because of your drive for excellence, because of all of the other things in you that keep you focused on things that are broken, there's no way you're going to let those things stay that way, but focusing on them is not the answer. Accepting, learning, growing, addressing is necessary, managing, sure, all of that's needed, but focus on the strengths. Focus on what's great about you. Focus on the gratitude you have for all of the energy and the things that have happened to make this moment possible for you and make this the best 2025 and the best year. Make this the best century that anyone could ever imagine. That's the call to action. Here, still looking at a name change and into quantum strengths, where you learn to start things powerfully and follow through with consistency to completion and through completion into the most amazing version of yourself. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.